controlling how you live and
control your own destiny.
Take life by its throat.
What's up, Believe Nation? This channel is designed to be a part of your daily success routine and help you believe in your Michael Jordan level talent. So today let's learn one of the most common rules that successful people follow. Take control of your life. Also, if you want to learn what Mel Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Terry Crews, and others have to say about building unstoppable confidence, check out my 254 Confidence series, where every day for the next 254 days, I will send you a morning video for free to help you build your confidence. The link is in the description below.
when you have an intention on something that you want to change about your life, your brain helps you.
The reason people don't put themselves in a position to fail, the reason people aren't patient, is they value other people's opinions too much.
Whatever you're thinking about it, you will not get it until you take action.
Recognize what really makes you happy. If you feel like you're losing, you're losing. It doesn't matter what other people feel. So I know how it feels to be perceived as winning and be feeling like, I'm losing. I stopped living according to what people wanted me to do. I started living according to what actually made me happy. Like if you're in a situation that don't make no sense, then get out of it. Don't make it make sense. 1 + 1 always equals 2. If you're not happy, change your life.
You know, I'm always looking for new ways to explain the power of the 5-second rule and the power of 5-second decisions. And I read something that Tim Ferriss said that really resonated with me. And he had this one line buried in a podcast somewhere that just jumped out, and it's stuck. And what he said is, he said something about how there's a gap between the world and the things that trigger you and your response. And your entire life is that gap. When you start to, this is not what he said, I kind of identified this gap, and I, of course, intrinsically was like, well, absolutely, that's the 5-second window between instinct or stimulus and your reaction. And when you start to understand that your whole life plays out in this 5-second gap, and that there's a gap that's 5 seconds long between fear and courage, and there's a gap that's 5 seconds long between self-doubt and confidence, that is your life. And what's super cool about understanding that your whole life is inside this gap is it's so small, everybody, that you have the ability to control it. Life's always gonna throw triggers at you, and there will always be all kinds of cool things that inspire you, your wisdom, and you get to choose what happens in that gap. Do you succumb to an excuse, or do you push yourself forward? When you start to speak up in business, you'll be shocked at how you start to speak up in your relationships. When you start to make hard phone calls, whether it's in a selling situation, you'll be surprised at how you'll start to close the gap and have hard conversations in your personal life. And so that gap is everywhere, and it's the same everywhere. And when you start to go to work in controlling how you live in that gap between stimulus or idea and your response, that's where the magic is.
I was working once at an ice cream parlor when I was about 15 years old, my first real job. And on the second day, I was asked to scrape the gum off between the Mexican tiles on the floor. And I said to the woman who owned the store, it was called Magoo's Ice Cream Parlor, you didn't hire me to scrape gum, you hired me to scoop ice cream. And there's this girl in the shoe store across the way that's looking at me. I don't want her to see me scraping the gum. And she said, what are you talking about? I own this store. I'll do anything I want with you. Get down on your knees and scrape that gum. And I said, I'm not doing it. She said, you're fired. Last job I ever had. I owe that woman everything. I don't like to work for people. Many of you in here, I hope, inherit that. There's nothing wrong with it, but if you want to control your own destiny, you work for yourself. That's how it works. I'm trying to inspire those of you who are on the tipping point. Take the chance, you're young. Go for it. There's nothing better than being able to wake up in the morning 10 years or 20 years from now and do whatever you like. It's about freedom. That's what matters. I'm not saying being an employee is bad, but believe me, being an entrepreneur is better. I'm a little biased.
Just enough. Like, living by somebody else's rules is a humongous mistake. I've just literally sat down with 5 people under the age of 27, and it's so refreshing. It is so refreshing. If you have not jumped on the bandwagon of doing exactly what the you want to do, which is skiing for the next 3 years, or working at a job that's not what your parents want or what society wants, this video is just called enough. Enough. Make this little 1-2 minute video, depends on when I finish, the piece of content that gets you to stand up and take life by its throat. Do something. Stop being scared. Stop letting the way you were raised, the fear as an offense, take that away. Let me be the person. I'll take the blame. I loved that some of my employees are like, my parents don't love what you're saying. Good. Parents, because if you are playing defense and if you are living a life where your kids' lives are the way you're being fulfilled, you're a loser, parents. And so enough parents imposing their way. You want your kids to be happy on your terms. Enough the kid that's sitting right now at a desk and saw this in a feed and you hate your job. Enough. Stand up, get the out of here, and do you. Live your life. You got one life. Do something about it.
There was a moment in my career, actually right before I started my lingerie line, and I had an old agent telling me, you're not a cover girl, you are only gonna be my money catalog girl, and you're just gonna be under the radar. I waited on him to build a career for me, and I waited on him to kind of guide me into success. And the moment that I let him just kind of step to the sideline and I took control over my own career is the moment that I started to skyrocket. And I could have had it earlier, I really believe.
People think happiness is all about money. Happiness is never, ever about money. Happiness is about being able to control your own life. That's all you want. It don't matter what you got in your bank, but if you can control your own life, you're happy. That's the beauty. And that's where everybody's mixed up.
Yeah.
Because you got all this money, but somebody else is controlling you.
So Shakespeare said there's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And I think it's true. Nothing is actually inherently good or bad. It's your attitude, it's your approach, it's how you interpret it that then changes the course of your life. There are some people who walk around and they can find a way to be negative about everything. You know some of these people. They are just always negative. Something is always wrong. There's always drama that circulates them, that follows them, that they then want to inflict on other people. They're just really unhappy people constantly. And there's others who are positive, who are optimistic, always seem to be happy, always seem to be smiling. And those are the people that you want to be around. Why? Like, they might have the same life. They might work in the same building, and yet one is negative and one is positive. They're just interpreting things differently. The positive one chooses to see the good, and negative one chooses to see the bad in everything that happens. And so people ask me, how am I always positive and optimistic and upbeat? And is this an act? Like, this is who I am. How I share on this channel here, this is me. This is who I am. I don't go after pressing stop and then hate my life. Like, I'm a positive, upbeat guy. I just choose to see the good in things. I think this is an amazing world. I think no matter what's happening in the world, that we will win. That I'm on board with Team Humanity. Like, it's gonna be great. We will solve these problems. This is the best time ever to live. And even that line of "it's the best" is something that came up recently at my workshop in Toronto. I did this workshop helping people make money from their ideas. It was a 3-day event. And one of the things that came up over and over and over again is "it's the best." Like, anytime we had a little problem that happened, my dog peed on the floor one time, this fire alarm went off. It's like, it's the best. This is awesome. Take the fire alarm, for example. I'd split people up into 3 different groups. They were in 3 different locations. Fire alarm goes off. It's easy to get agitated by it. I'm trying to learn here. I'm trying to understand this message. Why is this fire alarm going off? I can't concentrate. I can't think. I'm not learning. I can't focus. And you freak out. The fire alarm is going off anyway. Freaking out and getting angry is not going to solve anything, right? So what I did was I walked around to each of the 3 groups and I said, guys, this is the best. Like, being able to learn through this situation, it's the best. Now, it's not that you welcome problems, you want problems to come, you want all this negativity in your life. You don't welcome it, you don't want it to come. You're not saying, hey, problems, please come find me. But when they come, what's your reaction to it? Problems are coming for you. They come for everybody. Do you see it as this big, overwhelming thing that you get frustrated and angry and want to complain about? Or is it the best? And you make the best of it, and you find your way through. Now, that's easy when it's a fire alarm or when the dog pees on the floor, when you're stuck at a traffic light or an elevator and you get frustrated and you want to turn that into it's the best. Great. What do you do when it's actually a major problem? What do you do if it's somebody in your family dies or has cancer, or there's abuse or drug use or all of the negative stuff that happens in our lives? How do you turn that into a positive? Before you throw tomatoes at me, let me try to shift your perspective and say that it's the best. I'm a big believer that your purpose comes from your pain. If you look at the people that have done the most good for the world, it comes from a deep source of pain. My passion to help entrepreneurs comes from my feeling unworthy as an entrepreneur when I first got started, and how low I felt of myself, having no self-esteem, self-confidence, because I sucked, because I wasn't making any money, and I just felt worthless as a human being. And I don't want other people to have to go through that. We looked at people who came through my workshop, and their purpose, their mission, what they are so excited for, the big change you're trying to make in the world is coming from their own struggles growing up, from massive points of pain. And the pain that they went through, some of them is you wouldn't wish that on your biggest enemy. But because they went through it, because they survived it, because they dealt with it, they developed coping mechanisms for it. Now they want to make sure that one, that it never happens to anybody else ever again, and two, that the people who it does happen to, they want to help them not have to feel the same pain. They want to help them know that they're not alone. They want to give them different coping mechanisms to deal with it. And so yes, even in these really negative, deep, dark, extremely painful places, if you can learn to say, this is the best, to still feel the pain, to know that this sucks, but to know that getting through it makes you stronger, gives you purpose, and will allow you to help other people, if you can find in your heart to say, this is the best, that's when your life really starts to change. And so nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so.
Hi guys, I'm Carly Kloss, and welcome to my YouTube channel.
You clearly run your brand, over 1 billion users for YouTube. Did you look at those numbers and say, this is smart business?
I did. I had an opportunity to do something with a channel, with a network that was ultimately going to be in the hands of producers and editors in a dark room somewhere, but I didn't have control of it. And I had that realization, and I realized I want to control my story.
You've got a production company with your husband and friends now.
Yes.
Obviously with the Me Too movement and with so much of that going on in Hollywood at the moment, to see a woman producing her own film and starting her own production company and sort of operating stuff from behind the scenes as well as being on camera is really, really lovely for the rest of us. So
good, I'm glad.
Was that part of the decision at all, or was it just something you wanted
to do?
It was.
I mean, the point of the company was to promote women in film, whether that be through female protagonists or female-led content or through female storytellers. I think if we want to see a change in this industry, we have to have more women in positions of power, and that's when things will really change. And you'll get a more authentic version of a female story sometimes. Yeah. Not always, though. Craig told the story, and he directed women brilliantly. And I've worked with quite a few directors, male directors, who tell female stories wonderfully because they don't see it as a male or female story. They see them as people. But no, it was definitely the driving force behind our company to promote women in film, and to also a chance for me to kind of control my fate a little more and
take matters into your own hands a little bit.
What was your life like before you became the Iceman?
And actually, I was a father of 4 kids, and bringing them up alone, because my wife accidented in '95.
So that kind of like adversity and sadness maybe motivated you to and inspire yourself in the same way a lot of people who do your
sadness is a deep trigger. Where I got peace was in these breathing exercises, swimming outside in the cold. The cold is merciless but righteous as well. All the people say, you cannot steer life, you cannot do this, and it's part of life, and it's destiny, and it is fate, and destiny and all that. No, this time we learn to control our happiness, health and strength. And that's not philosophical or sectarian, it's chemistry.
Now I've got a really special bonus clip from Tom Bilyeu around how to be in control of your life that I think you're gonna really enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Time to move from just watching another video to actually taking action in your life or your business. So here we go. Question number 1. What do you need to take control of in your life or business? Number 2. Whose advice in this video resonated the most with you and why? And number 3. What are you gonna do about it this week?
And as Bruce Lee said, if you always put limits on everything you do, physical or anything else, it will spread into your work and into your life. There are no limits. There are only plateaus, and you must not stay there. You must go beyond them. Even in the statement, you can see him making a choice about what to believe by saying that there are no limits, by taking something that other people perceive as a limit, as something that's stopping him, and saying that's not, it's a plateau, it's something that I can push through. And you see what he holds himself accountable to. It's not okay to stay at a plateau. It's okay to have one. Everybody has them. They happen. It's a natural part of the course of getting better, but it is not okay to stay there. And that is a choice. That's not something anyone can hand you. It's something you have to believe to the core of your soul that it is not okay to stay in a plateau, and it's that that's gonna push you through. It's that that's gonna make you get up and keep going. But first, you have to recognize that life is cause and effect. You have to recognize that that choice is a knock-on effect. You have to recognize that him merely saying those words out loud have a cause and effect. They change the course of his life, the expectations that other people have of him, expectations that he has of himself. And because he understands that he can control the outside world by first controlling what's inside, by changing his belief system to match what he wants to accomplish, he's then able to accomplish. What he did in his life had nothing to do with luck. It had everything to do with the demands that he made on himself. It had to do with when he got in a motorcycle accident and people told him he would never walk again. Not only did he walk again, all of the major accomplishments that we think about of being that man, they all came after. They came after he was told he was never going to walk. It came after he was told that he was never going to be able to do martial arts. But he did it. He did the grueling work of getting better. He understood cause and effect. He understood that if he chose to believe that he could never do it, that he'd never be able to do it. But that if he chose to believe that by working out he could get stronger and get better and get back to it, that he could. And that's what he did. So now ask yourself, is your life dictated by luck or cause and effect? Are you in control or is it somebody else? Is someone else in control or is it you? And if it's you, go build the life that you want, because there's nothing stopping you but you.
Raise your standard.
Apple at the core, its core value is that we believe that people with passion can change the world for the better.
Not one drop of my self-worth depends on your acceptance of me.
If you guys want to learn the 10 skills that are hard to learn but will pay off for life, check out the video next to me. I think you're going to enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
One of the things you would want to be sure to do is, whether you like it or not,